Move it a little bit more, but it's live now. I think we live.
We are live.
We are live, and I feel like we are not balanced on this camera. Hello, everyone. We are getting it together. We are live today. It has been an interesting week, so give us grace.
A very interesting week.
You'll learn why it's been an interesting week, or you probably already know why. But let me. Is he over towards me a bit? Okay.
Yeah. We're good. Yes.
All right. I feel like I need to move the camera a little bit more. I think
There we go.
I think we're good.
We're good.
All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of
Mamas Beyond the Matrix.
Yes, my name is Kelly and this is
Jay.
And we are two mothers and families that have relocated from the United States here to Medellin, Colombia. We come to you every Friday live to give you information about relocating to Medellin, Colombia as a family. But a lot of the information we talk about pertains to any country you decide to go to. So just because you may not be interested in Medellin doesn't mean you couldn't use this information or some of the information to apply to whatever country you're interested in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And so we are again in Medellin, Colombia, and living here and experiencing life and giving you first-hand experience on what it is like to live out of the country. What is it like specifically to live here in Medellin, Colombia? And today we have a very special topic to speak about today and very relevant. And I'm gonna let Kelly introduce us what we talking about.
And I'm looking at us on the screen. I'm like, every time we record, the light just comes beaming down on us. Like we just super bright, but that's okay. That's all right.
Angelic. Angelic. I love it.
Like we're just glowing up. Okay?
Yes.
But yes, today's topic is about the earthquake. Yes, we had an earthquake on Monday here in Colombia. It affected us here in Medellin, but not anywhere as near as it affected other cities like Choco and Cali, which are basically the epicenter of the earthquake, and they were hit pretty hard. So that earthquake was 7.4.
Felt there in like the Pereira, Manizales area.
Yes.
Is where part of the epicenter as well.
Yes. So we thought, you know what, good topic, because we weren't prepared. We've had little tremors here and there, but we have never really gotten prepared, had go bags, had, things set up if there was an emergency. So this is a good time to talk about what do we do? How do we prepare if something happens when we are abroad? Now, the point of this video is not to scare you. It is to prepare you. It's real because it could be an emergency in your home country where you are right now, and you still need to be prepared. And a lot of us still don't. We're not prepared in our own home country. Unfortunately. True. And this is just a wake-up call to say you need to be prepared wherever you are. Anything can happen at any moment. Natural disasters are all over the place and can affect you in any form or fashion. So let's go ahead and get into it, because there are some things that we kind of just need to think about. Like, if something happens, where do we go? Who do we call? If our phones don't work, what do we do? How do we connect with our family members? If we're separated at some point, how do we get money if the ATMs are down? It's a lot to think about, right? Especially being abroad, man. It's a whole nother culture, whole nother language. They do things totally different. You do not know what their systems are in these other countries. So these are things that we have to kind of get to know and learn and prepare for, right? So let me just share. I think we can both kind of share our experience.
Oh yeah,
this
we
week.
Definitely can.
Because we have two kind of different experiences.
We're still a little shaken up a little bit, but no, we have two very different experiences coming to you today. And let's. I was here in Medellin with my family when the earthquake hit, and Kelly was.
I was here, however, I just got back to Medellin the day before the earthquake hit, and I was actually in a small town in between Pereira and Manizales, which were affected very heavily by this earthquake. And it's only 2 hours away from Cali and maybe 2 or 3 hours away from Choco. Like, I was very close to the epicenter, and I came back to Medellin the day before.
The night before.
Like
hours
right?
Before this earthquake hit.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. So the earthquake actually hit it like 7-something in the morning. So
7:34.
7:34. See, she knows the exact time. I was in the bed because my son did not have school, so we were just kind of in the house relaxing, chilling, and having a slow morning when this happened. For me, we've had earthquakes here in Medellin before, but they've been minor trembles. So I just thought it was another minor tremble because most of the time it happens when you're in bed at night or something like that. And I always have the same reaction. I'm like, is my bed moving? You know, like, am I dreaming or is this happening? Yes. And that's usually, what happens. And I'm like, the extent of it. And it's over with, it's done. And it's like, okay, it was a little earthquake. But this time I'm in the bed and I'm like, okay, it's a little tremble, okay. But it lasted longer. And it was stronger than normal.
Oh, yes.
And when I realized that how long it was lasting and how strong it was like, okay, now I'm trying to figure out, do I need to get out the house? Mind you, I'm in my pajamas. I need to put on some clothes. My son is here. Okay, I need to tell him what to do. He's 6 years old, never been in an earthquake. He doesn't know what to do. So I'm directing him on what to do so I can get dressed so that we can potentially get out of the house if we need to get out the house. Mm-hmm. But by the time I got clothes on, it had stopped. So that was my experience. My son wasn't scared. He was not. I think it was a little adventure for him. He was just like, this is new, this is different.
What's going on?
Mm-hmm. So after the earthquake, we did have to have a whole discussion about earthquakes. How does it happen? And, do a little bit of education. But what was your experience?
I had a similar experience, Kelly. I was home with my girls and my husband, and we were in our morning routine, and we were minutes from walking out of the door to walk our girls to school. And I have my oldest combing her hair for the morning, and it starts. So this is the crazy part. My husband gets the notifications on his phone, like when surrounding areas have floods, flash floods or something like that. And he said, hey, there's an earthquake and it wasn't here. It was like somewhere else, probably Manizales or Perea. And as he's saying earthquake, and he's looking at the notification on his watch, we feel like shaking. And we both look at each other like, are we tripping? And I'm like, oh no, this is here right now. And so I grab our girls. I'm in my pajamas too. I'm getting them ready. I haven't changed my clothes yet for the walk. And so we get them, pull them out of their high chairs and get them ready to we were trying to, in this moment, it's kind of like a fight or flight moment. Do I stand, make them go to the doorways, or do I get out of the house? Good thing is we are on a first floor dwelling. We have a first floor home, which is not typical for a lot of people who live in this city because there's so many buildings, there's so many high rises, there's so many people I talked to, they were on the 26th floor, they were on the 16th floor, they were on the 8th floor. And that to me is scary because I know what it felt like for me on the first floor. And so I can only imagine. I've been in an earthquake before in Peru in 2021, and I was on the 13th floor. And it was a tremble, kind of like a little milder than what we had here. But I just remember being on the 13th floor and the way that felt that high up. So I can only imagine what it was like for other people here in the city. And again, we did not get the brunt of the impact of the earthquake. We did feel it. I mean, no question about it. We were in an earthquake, but we did not get
damage,
the collapsed buildings.
No deaths or injuries. I don't believe here in Medellin.
To my knowledge, there hasn't been any reported, but there's like structural damage and cracks in walls and maybe some foundation issues with some buildings and some homes and stuff. From my understanding, that's what's been reported here. So I just want to pause and just say our heart and love and prayers go out to everybody who's been impacted in the Choco area, in the Cali area, in the Manizales, in the Perea area, because there's a lot of work that is going to need to be done, and there's a lot of work. There's a lot of people that are deployed there now that are helping with the recovery efforts and trying to still find people who are alive. And I just want to say that our hearts and our prayers and our love and even our support, there's opportunities that we will have here to go and support, and we are navigating that and how we are going to put our support to help out our neighbors. But I just want to say our heart and love goes out to everybody who are in the epicenter, who have been strongly impacted, because thankfully that's not our story, but that doesn't mean that's not to take away from those who are heavily impacted right now.
Exactly. So basically, we just want you to think about, like, if an emergency happens right now, would everyone in your family know exactly what they need to do, how they should respond? Yes or no? Now, I remember in school, we used to have drills. We used to have tornado drills, earthquake drills, all kinds. Flood. Well, I don't think we had flood, but I remember earthquake and tornado, definitely.
Okay.
I grew up in St. Louis. It's been a long time since I've been in school. However, we have all of those things in Missouri. So my son has not been exposed to that. Like, the only thing I think he's been exposed to in school in the States was fire drill and a intruder drill, which I had no exposure to, right? I don't know if he's never talked about earthquake or tornado, which he should have had those drills as well, because it's a very real thing. But yeah, he didn't really know what to do. So I had to tell him, okay, stand in the doorway so I can get my clothes on. And then, if we need to leave, we'll leave. I made sure he had his shoes. He was in his pajamas, but he had his little shoes on. So we needed to go, we can go. But yeah, it's a great opportunity to teach your kids about safety and what to do if there is a natural disaster, what protocols they should take.
Yes. And so here on this platform with Mamas Beyond the Matrix, we talk a lot about relocating. And a lot of families, they do their research. Like us, we do their research. We research the schools, we research the currency, the exchange of money, the communities, the culture, the language, the activities. We research a lot of these things. But my question to you is, if you are listening or watching right now and you've been looking for another place to move to, have you researched what natural disasters take place in that area? And if you have, just put a yes, put a no in the comments. Let us know where you are. Have you done that part of your research? Because what I'm finding, Kelly, is I've had quite a few people who are, I know, and you know as well, who they'll come here and they're like, yeah, I'm about to move in 3 months. I'm going home. I'm selling all my stuff, or I'm putting my stuff in storage, and I'll be there. And I'm getting phone calls now from people who are like, after this earthquake, I don't know.
Right. And
so that tells me that they are not aware of the natural disasters that could take place here. And so, again, this is not to fear. This is not for fearful information. It's so that we can be prepared in the decisions that we're making, especially when we're making such a big decision to move abroad. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And so here in the Medellin area here in Colombia, I'm going to talk about the specific natural disasters that can happen here. As you know, earthquake is one of them. We have the earthquakes. We have landslides.
Yes.
We have
People don't know about the landslides.
People don't. Yes.
Think about it. We're in the mountains.
We are in the mountains.
So when it rains heavily, there are some places around Medellin, very close to Medellin,
yes,
that have landslides. So it's a real thing.
Yeah. The landslides, the flooding, because there's flash flooding that happens here as well. So if you're anywhere in the southern region of the United States, you will know about the floods, or
the Midwest.
The Midwest, or even on the West Coast in some valley areas, it floods. So you're familiar with that. So it can flood here as well. The flooding, as well as thunderstorms. There's a lot of thunderstorms that will happen here. And wildfires and drought can also happen here in this region. So just be mindful if you're thinking about another place like Mexico. We lived in Mexico before moving here, and the hurricane that hit the United States, Hurricane Beryl, that hit last year, 2 years ago. We were in that hurricane, and it actually hit Mexico before it hit the United States. So we're no stranger to natural disasters. And as a matter of fact, my background is in.
I was about to say that.
Yes.
She's been in some situations, some natural disasters in her life that, I don't think many people have.
Yes. So we come to the conversation, Kelly, we're talking about preparing the children and understanding what they need to do to be ready for such a natural disaster. And this has come full circle for me. There's an earthquake that just happened on Monday. And the reason is because My very first experience with a natural disaster was the earthquake, the '89 earthquake in California.
That was a big one, right?
It's the one where the Bay Bridge collapsed.
Yeah, the bridge collapsed. Yeah.
I was in that earthquake, not in the epicenter city area where it happened, but I just remember being a young kid. I can tell you where I was. I can tell you what I was doing. I can see it. I was coloring with a neighbor friend on my stairwell. And I remember just that feeling of what is this? And then my father came out and explained to me what was going on and how to be safe. And it's very similar because my oldest daughter is the same age I was when I first experienced my first earthquake. So I see myself explaining to her and telling her, hey, when there's an earthquake, if you're not out of the front door in the first 20 seconds, of the earthquake, and it depends on the magnitude, and you're not going to know all of that immediately.
Right.
It's very reactional when you have an earthquake as opposed to a hurricane
or a tornado where you can see it coming. You see it.
But even tornadoes, they hit really fast. I feel like there is reactional as well. I feel like tornadoes and and earthquakes are very similar in the way that you just have to react as opposed to a hurricane. And I've also been impacted by Hurricane Katrina, living in the South at the time that Hurricane Katrina hit. And so I'm not a stranger personally. And a lot of my career work was in disaster recovery. And so it's really important for us to be prepared, for us to have these conversations, for us to be informed about our areas and regions of interest that we want to move to, because we just never know how we can be impacted. And so with that, I've already asked, have you been able to research the natural disasters? But even with researching the natural disasters, are you ready to still relocate? And we don't want to fear you. I think it's still safe here. I think we still enjoy it here. We still love it here. But it comes into that planning piece. There's a lot that comes to that planning piece of understanding. We need to be prepared. But you said something that was really important. And I think regardless to natural disasters, and it's sad to say this, but regardless to natural disasters, if there wasn't a natural disaster, but some political or some national
that was an emergency,
do you have a plan?
Right.
And is that plan understood within your family? So regardless of if it's a natural disaster or not, the question is, are you ready?
Yes. And before we start talking about a plan, as I mentioned earlier, I was in a town that was two hours away from Cali. I was actually considering
Colombia.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. I was actually considering and made the decision actually to move to that small town to take an opportunity that I was presented with, and for my son to go to a school that's there that he loved. We were actually testing out the school and seeing how we liked the little town and if we felt okay. We were ready to move. I had already secured an apartment. That's how ready to move I was until the earthquake hit. And then I was like, oh shoot, wait a minute.
Yes.
I don't think I can go because if something happens, if an emergency happens, I don't have a community there. Mm-hmm. I don't speak enough Spanish to be able to navigate what's going on, ask people questions, get information. Like, I would be totally lost in an emergency situation. And in that town, it did receive some damage. There were some building structures and different things that has a lot of damage to it. Some streets got closed off. There was no electricity for maybe 2 days, something like that. So I'm like, in that situation, I would not know what to do. And there are, I think, maybe 3 or 4 expats in this whole little town. Like, it's not many at all. And I think I was maybe one of the only Black expats. Even the Afro-Latino, or Afro-Colombians, there aren't a lot in that community. Not at all. Like, you probably count on one hand. So It was like, yeah, what do I do? I don't know if I'm ready to put myself in this situation. So I canceled it. I said, no, I'm not going. Even though they're still trying to get me to come, I was like, no, I don't think I feel comfortable being in a small town. If something happens, I'd rather be in a bigger city where I have community already established, like people were checking. We were checking on each other. Are
Absolutely.
you okay? Do you need anything? Like we hit each other up, like making sure we were all okay. I would not have had that in that small town. And so that made me totally reconsider my decision.
How far away from it is it from here, Medellin, Colombia?
So it is a 5-hour bus ride
Okay.
from Medellin. So 5 hours in a car or bus is how long it takes. And it's in the mountains just like Medellin. Same weather. That's why I was chosen. I was like, oh, it's same weather. Okay, you know, like the cost of living is less. But there was some other things that I realized too that I was like, I don't know how comfortable I would be. Like there's no ride share. There's no food delivery options. Like they don't have a Rappi or, you know, different things like that. It's very, very small, meaning you have to get out and walk to whatever stores you're going to go to. They're all there in the same little area, but you have to get out and walk and be in the community and get what you got to get. You can't just be like, hey, I'm in the house, deliver it to me. Hey, come pick me up at my door. No, not like that. So
it forces you to be more communal.
Yes.
And not convenient.
Yes. And I was open to it because another reason why I was open to it is because I felt like that was a better opportunity for me to improve my Spanish because I would be forced to be immersed in Spanish because there aren't any English speakers really in that area. So I would have been forced to use my Spanish, forced to get out the house and interact with the community. While here in Medellin, I can stay in my little bubble. I can stay in my apartment and work all day and not speak Spanish all day long if I want to. You know, we have those options. We have a lot of conveniences here. So that was kind of really too another reason why I was like, okay, you know, I could do this. I need to put myself out there. It'll help me grow. And it was also a great opportunity for my son. So yeah, you all I had to pivot, and we still like I don't know what I'm gonna do now. But let's get into this family plan. It's a family emergency plan, right? So I'm looking at my notes, so you already know that if you see me moving forward, looking down, we got notes in front of us. But every person in your household should know what to do, including your children. And we just mentioned that. So where do you meet? If you all are separated, let's just say you're at home working, your children are at school, your spouse is out running errands, something happens. Where do you all meet? How do you all connect? Okay. So you have to establish that. Even if you don't have children, and I know this is about families, even if you don't have children, you have to have your community, your network of people in the city that you've made friends with. You still need to come up with a plan with those friends. You know, identify those people that you know you're cool with, you're close to, and come up with a plan with each other. Because everybody still needs to be reliable on each other because we don't have family here. We are pretty much all we have here. So we have to be able to connect. So think about that too. If you don't have children, how do you connect with your community in the city that you choose to live in, right? So do you want to meet near the house? Like, does everyone come to the house or near the house, to the street or something like that? Is there a different location in the neighborhood you want to meet up at? Figure that out and identify it. And then how do you teach your children how to navigate themselves to that location? Now, children are very smart. I know mine. We can be in a car, and if we go somewhere, you know, so many times, they start learning, oh, a landmark. We're almost home. Oh, we need to turn right here. They pay attention to landmarks. So those are important things, and make sure your children are aware and learn landmarks. Identify where you are going and how you can navigate to different places. So if they can navigate their way home just by looking at landmarks, that would be a great way to start them out. Okay?
Absolutely.
Who will we contact? Who do we contact? The phones may be down, or the service, you know, is not good at the moment. How do we get in contact with each other? Having a local emergency contact is good, even though the phones may be down. Whenever they come back up, then reaching out to that emergency contact, or maybe everybody lets that emergency contact know where they are, and vice versa. You know, however you want to do that, because this is totally your plan. You create this. But is there a trusted person in the country you are in Colombia or in Medellin? Who's your trusted local person? It should be a Colombian, okay? Because they're gonna know exactly what to do and how things work. So for me, it would be my nanny, right? Because she has all of our information. She has my emergency contact information for the States. Like, so she will know who to get in contact with if anything was to happen to us. She knows. And
That's
she
good.
even has Jana's information
Yes.
and other people here in Medellin. So
Yes.
if she needs to reach out to anybody,
She knows how to
do that to let people know if something's going on with us.
Absolutely.
Then your trusted person back home. So my trusted person is my best friend. She's the one who has our address and all of the information for us here in Colombia. And I actually tell my mom, but she gets mad at me about this. I just tell my mom to contact her. And my mom was like, I need to have the information, yada, yada, yada. But I'm like, Mom, you don't know what to do. You know, she's just from a different era. She's not going to know what to do with
How to navigate.
how to navigate it. My best friend does. She's a traveler. So she's going to know what she should do with the information. So I just tell my mom, contact her. She'll, navigate the whole thing. But again, she doesn't like it. But it is what it is because I know better. Like she'll have the information and just be sitting there like, well, what do I do? So we don't want that.
I have something similar. I have a travel group chat, and so like when my family and I, whenever we travel, I just put it in there. Hey, we flying out. This is where we're going, so everybody can have eyes on it instead of sending all these different messages.
Yeah.
And then this group of individuals, including my best friend, because she's a traveler, she'll know how to do stuff, and my spiritual mother, and then my mom. My mom isn't the most similar. She'll come out of the country. She's not gonna know what to do. She's gonna be so lost. She can figure it out, but that time
It's gonna take.
It'll take to figure it out. And I know somebody who can just kind of like figure it out on the cusp. Everybody's in that group, and so everybody's kind of they have the addresses, they know where the schools are, all of that.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that emergency contact group here locally and then
abroad.
on the home front.
Yep, at the home front. Yep. So these are just all important things that you need to think about. What is your plan? Where do you meet? How do you communicate with each other? If you get separated, where do you, all of those things are things you need to think about for yourself and identify and then teach your children. And even at your children's school, if there needs to be something, of course, you're going to have an emergency contact at their school. Normally, that's standard procedure. They're going to have that. But again, in these situations where the phones don't work, how do you get to your kids' school if they can't get home themselves? I have a 6-year-old. He can't go get home by himself. The girls can't get home. I mean, they may know how to navigate with those landmarks when we're walking or driving, but they can't just leave by themselves and start walking and trying to get home, especially in the middle of a disaster. So how do we navigate that? How do we get to our children who, are in a certain location?
Right.
I think that's also the importance of being close or being within a walking distance to the school.
Man.
Like that makes that even more important. Like I know I can walk to my son's school. It's gonna be the 30 minutes, but I can walk to it. It's no longer than 30 minutes. And I know yours, the kids' school is what, 15 minutes? Three. Oh, it's 3 minutes. Okay, so even better.
3.
So yeah, being close to your children's school is important.
I just want to interject really quickly. So our children's going to one school that we absolutely love. It's not far. It's like a 12-minute walk from where we live, and we absolutely love the school, and I did not want to take them out. And my husband was like, let's check out the school, and I still wasn't sold. And even like the first month, I was like, I don't know about this school. The only thing that it really had for me was that it was 3 minutes away. Before we moved, the first school was 4 minutes away.
Okay.
So I mean, they're relatively close, but in my mind, I'm like, but if anything happens, I'm right there and I can get to them.
Yep.
And the school ended up growing on me. But this week, I was just reminded how thankful I am that we had made the decision to have them closer to us as opposed to even 12 minutes. It's not a long walk.
Right.
It's not long. But still, in the state of an emergency,
It becomes
all
a longer walk.
It could be a longer walk, especially if there's debris, if
Yeah.
there's flooding.
People all
It might
the
not even be
streets.
a walk,
Right.
Yes, people out on the streets. As a parent, that's one of the most frightening things that you can think about is what if something happens and I do not have access to get to my child?
Yeah.
And no parent wants to be in that situation. That's why we're having this conversation. No parent wants to be in that predicament. But it happens. It does happen.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So thinking about if you can't get to your child, where can they be taken to, or who else can pick them up for you on your behalf, and making sure that person's name is at the school as well
As a trusted adult.
right? Communication as far as, do you have walkie-talkies? I mean, we don't have, honestly, I'm gonna be realistic. In a whole nother country, no, I don't have that. In the United States, I could have that because we would live there. That's our home base. But when you're moving around, it's hard to have all of the things that you would necessarily want to have in an emergency. If you're moving from country to country, or you're even in a city, but we're constantly moving from apartment to apartment, and we have all of this stuff, or we can't fly all of this stuff from the States here because that becomes expensive. It's like, those are the things you got to think about. Now, you can buy things here in the country, but it still comes down to, now you got all this stuff. How do we move all this stuff around as we are moving around? Storage is a whole other situation because a lot of these places are small. So where are we putting this stuff? It's just like a lot of little things that it can be done. But those are some more things you just kind of got to think about logistics wise. But it is important. I think, is there anything else? I mean, we have a plan. Oh, practice. Practice your plan. So whatever it is, whatever location you're going to be meeting at, practice going to that location. Whomever the phone numbers, you may need to have your kids remember phone numbers. At least maybe two. Yours and then your trusted person. Your trusted adult. They have to remember the phone numbers. Of course, addresses are important to remember as well. That gets a little tricky here, though.
And you just made me think of something. Even with the phone numbers, do you have a local number here?
I do, but I don't use it. I still use my WhatsApp number.
But I wonder if it's even important to have the local number memorized, because what if something from a communication standpoint doesn't work with our international phones?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that till you just mentioned it. So,
and I have a number, but I don't use it at all.
I know.
Use it at all.
But as another form of a way to contact you, though.
Yeah,
to contact us.
That's definitely important. So another thing. See, things just keep popping up, and even when after the earthquake, and we were in a group chat, people were talking about go bags, and I remember, in the States, I would definitely have a go bag, but here I don't, because again, I'm moving around, and that's just too much stuff to be carrying. But it's a good thing to have. So we started talking about go bags and what goes in the go bag, and people were just giving ideas and throwing stuff out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get prepared. I'm not prepared at all. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not prepared at all here in
We're gonna get you prepared. We're gonna get you prepared.
In the States, I had a whole emergency tote with everything in it, masks, all kind of stuff that we needed. First aid, everything. Here, I have nothing. So we got to get it together and figure out how we gonna move this stuff around and navigate all of that. But
I want to also interject code words. So like with your trusted adult friends or family members who are your trusted people who are safe for your children, making sure the children know that safe word or that code word to know that it's okay to go with them. I think it's really key. It's really, really important, because it can be a friendly face. I've seen you around, but in the state of an emergency, you still need to have some kind of parameters so the children know that they're safe. They know who to go to, and you have that code and that set up with the right people. Because man, you don't. I just couldn't imagine somebody, I'm coming to pick you up, or I'm coming to your mom and your dad, and they know you, And I mean, God forbid, things like that I don't hear about things like that happening here. I'm not saying they don't. I don't hear about it too much, but I definitely hear about it back at home in the States. I hear about it a lot more.
That's a whole other story. That's
a whole other story. Yes.
But then another thing I just thought about too is knowing the school's emergency. So where will the school take your children if something happens, so you know where to go collect them, or your trusted person knows where to go collect them? Do we even know that information in the States? I didn't. I just figured I'd just go to school. They'll be there somewhere. But here, I mean, we don't know. I don't know what the school's plan is. So that is something now I would need to get to know and understand to ask that question.
Yes.
But let's go ahead and move on to building your family emergency kit, because that is what we were just talking about.
So we're going to talk about this go bag, okay? Because it's time to go. It's time to go. And I have to be very transparent and honest with you. Having worked almost 15 years in disaster recovery, where that was my main form of communicating and educating the community on being prepared for hurricanes, earthquakes, all of the nine. I was not prepared, Kelly. I was not prepared. And not that I wasn't prepared as I don't know what to do and where to go, but I always have a go bag. No matter where I am, I always have a go bag. And it was exposed. I was exposed to myself that I did not have a go bag. And I'm really frustrated with myself because that is like my plan. That's my thing.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, all right, I need to really back in and get in and lock in. And so I want to share with your families back home and anybody who's watching, regardless if it's a natural disaster or just an emergency, what are some things you need to have in your go bag? And I have a list. I do have most of this here, but I want to make sure I don't miss anything. You want to make sure that you have your bottles of water. You want to make sure that you have enough bottles of water to last you a few days for you and everybody in your family, including your pets. For those of you all who are pet parents, you want to make sure that you are also thinking about your pets. You want to have food. You want to have non-perishable food items. Non-perishable food items could be canned goods, could be packaged goods. But I want to caution you that if you do have canned good items, make sure you have a can opener.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a can opener, or make sure you have the cans that have
the pop top.
opener.
I realized that
Mm-hmm.
because I bought some cans of some stuff from the United States. And you know, we don't have pop tops really in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just here like, okay, I'm about to cook. I don't have a can opener.
Yes.
And then realizing here in Colombia, they don't really need can openers because most of the cans have pop tops. That was just like, oh, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I need to order a can opener.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been on my list of things to do, and I just haven't done it. I need to order that.
You need it in the event of an emergency. You need a can opener. You need one of those Swiss Army knives too.
Yep.
I don't even have that on there, but the Swiss Army knife. You need to have that with all those compartments, the screws, the flashlight, all of those things. You need to have one of those. So flashlights and candles.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people think about flashlights, but remember you have to have batteries. And if you've had a go bag, if you currently have a go bag, this is your sign to check your go bag for expired food items, for batteries. Make sure that they're operational and they work. And I would suggest checking every 6 months because you just never know. Having extra batteries because you may have a flashlight and then the batteries don't work.
Or you can get a solar, something that charges with solar, a battery a flashlight that charges with solar. That's even better.
That's even better.
And even with the water, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Having the cups, the filter cups. One of the moms talked about having cups for each one of her family members where they can put the water in and it filters any kind of water. So even if you need to have that as well. I just feel like we need both.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So in candles, so either matches or lighter and candles would be good because you just never know. Mm-hmm. But I would also say glow sticks. Yeah. So some people don't realize that glow sticks will give you, especially at nighttime, will illuminate enough light for you to navigate, especially if you're in like an emergency. So having glow sticks. Now, back home in my emergency bag, this is probably going to be a little bit too much for some of you all, but I have like a helmet that has the flashlight on it. And so in the event that there's something like really emergent, like a real big emergency where you need to climb through rubble, like an earthquake, or you have it to where your hands can be free from using a flashlight with having a flashlight on your helmet to protect your head, but also to see. First aid kit.
Oh yeah.
Your first aid kit. So make sure I hope I don't have to go into detail what needs to be in your first aid kits, but you need some antiseptic wipes, you need Band-Aids, you need some rubbing alcohol, gauzes, and maybe like a ace bandage wrap for starters, for the bare minimum starters, and maybe even one of those plastic tweezers, plastic tweezer things. You need one of those. Any medications that are very vital for you and your family. Every person in your family, make sure that you have not only the medications, but if you have copies of the prescriptions, make sure you have those. And I know this has been many, many years since, and we have evolved so much, but I do remember when Katrina hit, one of the things that was overly exposed was the medical system and how there were so many people who needed medical prescriptions. They had medical needs. And then they didn't have their prescriptions. There wasn't a digital footprint of the things that they needed from their healthcare professionals, to where when they had to relocate, they went to another city. Healthcare professionals weren't trying to give them their insulin, weren't trying to give them, because they don't know. They don't know if you should have it, and then what type do you have? Do you have? And if you're older and frail and you may not know the exact name, they can be implicating themselves medically, and nobody wants to do that. So if you just go and have these documents ready, that would just make things a lot simpler. And I say have also physical copies, because you just never know digitally if your phone dies and you're in an emergency. You just
have to leave your phone behind because you're rushing.
Right. But if you have your prescriptions and if you have your vital records in a Ziploc bag, an airtight Ziploc bag that will keep that's waterproof, or just a regular Ziploc bag will keep it somewhat protected. But you want to make sure that you have your documents protected. Hygiene items for yourself, for your children. What are those items? From soaps to feminine hygiene products to face towels. Not a whole lot, just something very basic, but enough to get you over.
Even if you just get some baby wipes and have it on there, because that's gonna, you can wash up and kind of keep yourself fresh, which is that. So
yes. Emergency cash. You want to make sure that you have some emergency cash stored away. All of this can go in the same bag. All of this. I know you were talking about a tote, but for me, when I think about an emergency and needing to go, I think a go bag. I have backpack, so I just grabbed it. Everything is in there. I just grabbed the backpack, ready to go, and ready to be boots on ground, whatever is needed at that time. Clothes, if you need an extra pair of clothes, well, you will need an extra pair of clothes.
You probably need more than one pair, probably at least 2 to 3 pair per person.
So I would say pack something light, and depending on where you are, I guess it depends on where you are in the region, because some people, there are snowstorms, so your go bag is going to look a lot different. But try to pack as light as you can, because you just never know what you will be needing to carry on your person, on your body, and especially if you're a parent, you have children, you may need to be picking up children. So pack what you need, but be mindful of the weight of what you're packing in your bag. So essentials, but keep it simple. Essentials, keep it simple. That's what we're gonna go with. And now we're talking about children. Maybe have some activities, some little toys that will help keep them calm. Just something that's really basic, doesn't require a whole lot, but they may keep them calm. Now, those are like your essentials. I'm going to get into what you need that a lot of people don't think about that you need.
Go ahead.
And you touched on one of them. When there's a natural disaster, the number one thing that will make someone be frantic is lack of communication. When in 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit and the towers were down, that was one of the most frustrating things, to be navigating and evacuating an area in a state of emergency and not being able to reach people, and people but not being able to reach you. I know my family thought the worst. They're seeing what they were seeing on television, and they're thinking the absolute worst, because they could not get in contact with me. And so with that, it's okay maybe to not have the mass communication where you can reach out internationally, even though you may want to. But your local community is going to start with those walkie-talkies. So making sure you have walkie-talkies, maybe making sure that you have maybe either the solar, like if you have the solar-powered flashlight, the flashlight with the radio. With the radio, because that is like one of the number one things you're going to need to do, is be able to keep in contact and communication with the world, but especially the community who you have as your emergency list. Passports. People don't think about passports, visas, IDs. That's part of your vital records, but I have to say that because people are not thinking. If there is something that drastically happens and you need to flee the country, you need to have access to your passport. So making sure that you have your passport packed or easily attainable. And that's going to be hard for a lot of people, especially if you need to go like that and you got your go bag, but now you got to go search for all the passports for your family. If they're all together in one place, that makes it a lot easier. And What else? IDs. And copies of your health insurance. So your health insurance that would go into your vital records and your documents in a Ziploc bag. But those are some of the essentials that I would say that are really, really important to make sure that you have when you're packing your go bag. Anything else that I missed? I'm trying to
A whistle. You mentioned this in the group.
Yes,
having a whistle. One thing I've learned just in the past, just from listening to different things, whenever you are in a state of emergency, having closed-toed, heavy, like sturdy, not heavy shoes, sturdy shoes, something that's waterproof. So if you have a good pair of tennis shoes or rain boots or hiking boots, I think hiking boots would probably be the best because they can withstand a lot of walking. They're usually comfortable. They're usually waterproof, and if anything drops on your feet, they can usually protect that. I know everybody's not gonna have hiking boots. If you're not a hiker, you're not gonna have it. Like I have hiking boots, but they're in the States because I'm not gonna be hiking here. But like making sure you have a sturdy pair of waterproof shoes. And if you don't, one thing I kept in my emergency tote, and it was a tote because it was for us to stay in the house.
Bunker in because of tornadoes,
Bunker in, or even just like with COVID and anything where we had to just stay where we were.
So you have a shelter in place tote,
yes,
and a go bag.
Actually, I didn't have not the same, but I didn't even have a go bag. I just had bags where I knew I could put stuff in. But I should have had it packed.
Yes.
So that was something else. But yeah, I definitely have the tote. But having duct tape in the tote. So this is another thing I learned. So duct tape, you can wrap it around your shoes and the bottom of your pants to make it all waterproof. So I mean that's like a cheap, easy thing to just throw in or in your go bag, and if you need it, you can wrap up, your shoes and your pants, the bottom of your pants to keep you protected. So just like little things like that, like improvise. We're not gonna have everything. We're not gonna be able to put everything in a bag. So just get what's most important. I remember having trash bags in my emergency kit. Not to use for trash, but if it was raining and we needed a poncho or something to protect us, or we needed to build some kind of a shelter that was waterproof, so some sturdy trash bags, big trash bags, just like little things like that. And you don't even think about it. Those are things you can get at the dollar store.
Yeah,
you can get at just any regular store that doesn't cost a lot of money, and they will be helpful in protecting you. And then something to like some sticks or something, like if you break your arm or you break a leg, something to stabilize broken bones. So like maybe just have little sticks or something in the bag as well that you can utilize if you were injured, and kind of use it temporarily to take care of your injury until you're able to get somewhere else. So those are the things off the top of my head.
A light blanket. Yeah, you can have a light blanket
if you can. But we can only have so much. And I know, like you just said, the go bags can't be too heavy.
Just enough for the go bag essentially is enough to make sure that you and your family can survive without thinking about needing to go here, get this, because what if the stores are closed down? And that can be a whole another can of worms, but just making sure you have all of your essentials for like 2 or 3 days, because sometimes the stores will close down, the grocery stores will close down, and then you have people who are looting and and you just don't want to be caught up in that if you can avoid it by being prepared. Now, let me tell you, people gonna do what they need to do to feed their children. And I don't say nothing wrong with that. If you need to do what you need to do in the state of an emergency to survive, that's a completely different conversation. But for there's riffraff that comes along with taking advantage of natural disaster or emergency, state of emergencies.
And then the one thing I just thought about too is just even making sure your kids can carry their own bags, because you may not be able to carry a family of 4s, all of that stuff in one bag. So you and your husband, can carry a bag, but for me, if it was just me and my 2 boys, my oldest son is definitely gonna have to carry a bag. I need to carry a bag. He needs to carry a bag. The little one, he can carry a bag, but it has to be super light because you gotta move. You gotta move quick. And your kids already are going to be probably moving a little slow because they're little people. And if you have to pick them up, again, that weight. So you got to keep all those things in mind.
There's something that happens, though, in a state of an emergency. And I even understand, like, children pick up on it, too. And I feel like there's a level of resiliency. There's a level of tact that comes with them. Not all children, but I feel like there's a level of we got to get this done. And they understand there's not a lot that can be communicated in this time. You just got to understand we got to be on the go. We got to be on the
You gotta
go,
move.
and you got to move. And I think when there's a state like that, energetically, children pick up on it, and they know how to maneuver. But then you do have some. They're gonna complain. They're gonna whine, and so yeah, you do
Be
need to
crying or they're
mindful.
scared, so you know they kind of melt down. So I mean, that's just to be expected from a kid.
Mhm.
I mean, adults melt down. So you know, sometimes the kids they're probably gonna melt down too.
Yeah, you got your fight, fight, or freeze. You got that's what your reactions are. You got fight, fight, or freeze. There's another one I can't think of right now. But there's another one.
Yeah. Well, so we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Yes.
All right, because we need to talk about a money plan. All right. So we talked a little bit about having cash on hand, which is another thing I need to work on as well. However, in an emergency, banks will probably be closed. ATMs probably will not be working, or they may be empty because everybody's rushing to try to grab money. So if ATMs become inaccessible, the electricity is out, the internet is out, your card is not working, your credit or debit card is not going to work, all you have is cash, right? So having your emergency cash in whatever currency that you are in, or for the country you're in, here is Colombian peso. So having enough on hand to buy little things. I don't think, I can't even say how much you should have because everybody's different. Some people may want to have enough to get a hotel room or do, different things. But in those states of emergency, I don't even know if that would be accessible. A hotel, if the internet and electricity isn't working, who says you're going to be able to get into a hotel, So I would just personally want to make sure I had enough if we needed to get a bus somewhere, or we needed to get some food from somewhere, or like our necessities, if we really needed to get that and we were able to get those things, then having enough cash on hand for something like that. So go ahead.
I want to talk back to the people who are at home right now, because I grew up, and you probably grew up the same way. I grew up when my mom said, make sure you have a little cash in your pocket. Make sure you have a little cash in your pocket. At least back then, $10, $20. Make sure
it was $5 or $10.
Yes.
That was way back when. That took you somewhere.
But are people keeping emergency cash available at home? Like, are they doing? Because I know I got comfortable with not having cash on me, and for several different reasons. But I think it's still important for us to, even just day to day.
I did keep in my emergency little stash in the States. I did keep some cash.
Okay.
Not a whole lot, but I did keep at least like $100, something like that. Here, no. And I think that's only because cash is we use it so heavily here that I'm always using it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of places don't take a card, or they don't take, you can only pay with cash. This is more of a cash society. So I tend to not have it on me, or not have it stashed, I should say, because I'm always kind of paying something or paying somebody something.
Yes.
But that is something that needs to happen. It's like this is reevaluating a lot, for us. Like, if we're living in a new place, we still need to think like we thought in the States.
Facts.
And I think maybe I haven't gotten all of these things because I'm not quite settled yet, which is something we've talked about.
Yeah,
that bothers me.
But I think you and I are in the same boat, because I really was beating myself up, like, how do I not have a go bag? How do I not have these things? MREs, we have like doomsday ready for like MREs. We prepare for these things. How do I not have this here? And I think it goes into what you're saying. It's like, we know that we're here, but it's that other level, the next level of solidifying living in another country.
Yeah, like for me, as like we don't have long-term visas. Like, we have a long-term for like a year or two, but we don't have an extended visa for like 5-10 years. So we know, okay, we're here. This is our home base. Because that's just not how things are set up here in Colombia. I mean, only certain people can get those types of visas, and you still gotta follow whatever the rules are to get those types of visas.
Absolutely.
So that's when I say I don't feel settled. That is the reason why. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to stay in Colombia. If they deny my visa next time, I gotta go. Right. So if I have to go, then again, that's extra stuff that I already have on top of what I already brought brought here and have bought
Yes.
since I've been here. Like, so adding on to that is just like, no. Now, if this was a place where they were like, okay, you got 5 years or you got a long period of time you can be here.
The mental state changes with
the mental
that.
state changes. Mm-hmm. I know, okay, I'm going to get a house to settle in that I'm comfortable with. I'm going to be here for this amount of time. Like, I won't be bouncing around. Yes. I have the space to put this. This is where it goes. This is where we are established. So I think that's a big part of it.
Part of being in a transient community, which is a foreign community, a group of foreigners, expats, is you understand that people come and people go, and even with you living somewhere temporarily, it's that idea if I have to drop and go at any moment, if you're a true traveler, you want to
travel as light as possible
so you can get to where you need to get to as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have that mindset. You do run into some people who they know that I'm here because they already set up their visas and they know they're going to be there for an extended amount of time. The mentality is a little different. Mm-hmm. But until you get, like you're saying, those visas and everything kind of set up, there's still this temporal mindset of the place where you live, because legally you want to make sure all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, you want to stay legal.
And you
don't want any problems.
That's a whole nother conversation. But when you overstay your visa, the type of money that you have to cash out when you overstay your visas, you do not want those problems. And so that's why people are kind of ready to move at any moment in the event that they don't get approved.
Right. But back to the money situation, making sure you have more than one debit or credit card on you. Yes. All right. So at least have two, or one of each, or two of each, however that needs, whatever that looks like. Now, maybe you can't use it immediately, but when things are kind of backing up and running, and usually it will take maybe a couple of days, then you'll be able to use it. If you need to go get that hotel, if you need to go get another Airbnb or whatever it may be, you have those things on you. If you need to get a flight out of the place where you are, because there's situations like that as well, you have your cards ready for, to help you. Let me see. Having your money in more than one financial institution is important, because one institution may go down and then you have a backup with another one. Or if you have a local banking account, if you can't get access to that local banking account, you still can have access to the other account that may be in your home country. So having more than one financial institution,
and have them connected in case we talked about this in another episode, but have them connected in case you need to transfer the money around, in case one of them is available and the other one is not.
Yes. So and that's when other apps too come in handy, like Remitly and Wise and things, where you can transfer money to those apps, and then you can use send that money elsewhere or use it however you need to use it, or even Neki, transferring money to it, and you can use it here locally. Having your emergency savings, we kind of talked about that. That's just having your cash on hand, or your savings account. Just having an emergency savings account where you can access it; it will be there for you. And then your backup international funds. I feel like that's all the same as the emergency savings. I mean, it's just another pot. I mean, why separate it? It's your emergency is an emergency, so you use it when you need to use it. So the important thing is that you don't keep your entire emergency strategy dependent on one card, one bank, or one phone app, or anything like that. You have to have multiples, because you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to work, and what will not work in these situations. So let's go ahead, and we're going to move to our next part here, which is,
what do you do with your children? How do you prepare with your children? How do you make sure that they understand what to do? And it's going to be different depending on the age of your children. But in a state of an emergency, they need to know who the trusted adult is. And we talked about that earlier, having the code word with that trusted adult, so they know, okay, this is a safe person. This is safe person to go to in the event of emergency. Having that plan of where do we go in the state of an emergency. This is a safe place. So a landmark for your children to know, this is the safe place. If you cannot communicate with mom, if you cannot communicate with dad or auntie, this is a safe place to get to. If you have a trusted adult who doesn't know, you tell that trusted adult, my mom said, my dad said, go here, go to this building with this sign, this church, whatever it is, they know where they need to go. They know where the safe havens are. Phone numbers. Y'all, we live in a society where I remember.
I remember remembering phone numbers and addresses and directions to get to places.
Absolutely.
All of the things we had to remember it back in the day. We did not have cell phones. We had pay phones.
Now listen, this is a conversation for another time. But our era, this new generation is coming out. I love this anthropic. I love this, like a lot of the things that are happening with this Gen Z, the glass generation that are always on screens. I love it. But if the system completely went down, people are not going to know numbers. They're not going to know how to tell time on like a digital clock. And so these are skill sets that we need to make sure that we continue to have and instill into our children, at least teach them so they know how to read a map. Like navigate
yeah.
East, west, south, north, south, all of those, the coordinates. They need to know these things. And I know for those scouts, those parents who have your children in scouts, you know, your kids are going to get those fundamentals. If you are a military parent, some military parents will teach their children these essentials, but these are like life skills, survival skills that we need to make sure our children know. So back to the phone numbers. I still have a handful of phone numbers that I know by heart, but not like I used to. And we are so dependent on technology now. And kids are at an impressionable age where they can learn and they can remember things. So we want to make sure that they at least know, I don't know how many numbers. I think 3 numbers, maybe.
I can tell you right now, I know 1 number.
That's it?
That's my mom's cell phone number. That's all I can remember right at this moment. Wow. I remember my number, but anybody else's, I cannot, because I haven't had to remember it. We get their cell phone, put it in their contact, and it's up. So yeah, I got to go back a little bit.
Yes, I have a few. I have a few that I know. I have my mom, my brothers, my husband, my number. I have a friend number from back in the day. I don't know why I remember this lady's number, but I remember her number. My best friend. I know my best friend's number.
Okay.
Yes.
So I got to do better. But also making sure your kids know their full names.
Yes.
Your full name, address.
Yes.
Those are also important.
Absolutely.
The trusted person's name. So yeah, I mean, those are just a few more things that we can make sure we instill in our children.
Now, I think you brought up a really good point in preparing for this segment today. And that is, especially if you are a family who's relocating to another country, no emergency said language. Here it would be Spanish. Make sure your children, if they don't know anything else, and if they're learning the language while living in the country, make sure they know how to say, I need help. I can't find my mom or dad. Please call emergency services. I'm lost.
Yeah.
So that they understand how to communicate. But on top of that, they're going to need to know how to discern who to talk to. That's a key, and that's really important. Is teaching them how to discern strangers, like kind of get a feel for strangers and their energy. And that's another level of development, even in adults. But making sure that you are aware of potentially safe people, strangers who you can go to talk. And so I will illustrate some of these in Spanish. I need help. Necesita ayuda. That means I need help. I can't find my mom or dad. No encuentro a mi papa, a mi mama. Okay. Please call emergency services. Llame a emergencias, por favor. You know. And I'm lost. Is estoy perdido. I may not have pronounced that word correct, but those are going to be some essential key phrases to teach your children at a very basic level, so they can communicate in the event that maybe something happens with you. And I do know that there are some single parents, and as a single parent, that brings on another level of complexity because you don't have another parent to kind of bounce off with preparing. It's on you. It's out of the country. Maybe you co-parenting. The co-parent is back home, wherever home is for you. So you have to make sure that in this planning, your kid can advocate and be assertive in the way that they advocate in the home language in the event that maybe even something happens, unfortunately, with you and you cannot communicate. So these are some pointers that we hope that you take this away from this episode today, and understanding that this is not fear tactics. This is not to promote fear. This is to be prepared. And when you are prepared, it promotes another level of confidence of moving and navigating back home, but another level of confidence also when you are out of the country and you're living somewhere else. And Kelly touched on this, and I think I will probably touch on this every episode. Make sure you have someone local that you know, that you trust, that it becomes a friend, because your local contacts are going to give you gems and pieces and knowledge that the foreign community is not going to have for you. Make sure you stay plugged into someone who is from the country, from the city, from the layout of the land. Mm-hmm. That is essential.
Yeah, definitely. And we touched earlier on, well, first let me stop and pause, because I am a single parent. Mm-hmm. And those phrases you just talked about are very important. Now, my son does speak Spanish, mm-hmm. so it should be relatively easy for him to remember those things, which is a good thing. But yeah, we need to work on that. He just came in, so if you heard him, that's who it is. He just got here from school.
But we have all levels of families who watch, and you know, some of you all have immersed your children in foreign languages, and some of you all, this will be new. They'll be coming to the country not knowing too much of the language or any of it, and so that's where these are going to be really, really important.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. Let's hit on technology a little bit before we wrap this up. We talked about it as far as technology failing.
We are mamas, right? Beyond the computer, right? Beyond the camera.
I have to pause for a second. Go ahead, Bryson. Go ahead. So, technology. If your phone doesn't work, what do? What happens if our phone doesn't work? So, writing phone numbers down. If we don't remember them, as we just talked about.
Oh, yes.
Remember that little Ziploc bag where you put your passport and your medication information and prescriptions and this and that. Put your important phone numbers in that bag as well. Mm-hmm. So you won't even have to worry about it, because it may just be a situation too where you're in a state of shock and you just can't remember. You know, people react in all different types of ways under pressure and under emergencies. You just may not be able to even remember stuff at that moment. So just having it written down somewhere and put it in a plastic bag, that works as well. Having your charger, your power chargers, your power packs, power banks, whatever, backup batteries, whatever it is you want to call it for your phones or your tablet or whatever. Have that fully charged and ready to roll in the go bag. I would almost say just get a separate one and keep it in a go bag, and then have one personally for yourself. So when you travel, if you're a traveler, you already know about these little battery packs that you carry around. So get two. So you have one in your go bag, one you carry on you, because there's many times when you're out and about and your phone dies, and you need to make sure you're charging your phones, because that's how we pretty much operate out here in these streets. It's the phone. We need the phone. We talked about having your in-country contact and your out-of-country contact. We talked about that. We talked about your meeting location, and then have a plan if messaging or call. Oh, so if messaging or calling isn't available, what do you do? Like, what is your plan? So talk about that as a family and with your children. What do you do? And it could just be meeting up, like Jonna talked about, at a certain location, or everybody make sure you get home, or come home, and then we all meet up here and go from here. So, you know, just depends on what you want to do. Now, also knowing your country's embassy information.
Absolutely.
Where it's located, how to get in touch with the embassy. So the embassy here is in Bogota. Bogota is not close to Medellin
at all.
So, you know, we would have to navigate that, but at least knowing where your country's embassy is, because the embassy is going to help you if you don't have your passport and need to, you know, get a new one and to get out of there, or to update you with information. Now, we have signed up, and this is not even just the embassy, but the STEP program.
Okay, I was just looking for it.
Yeah, the STEP program. So the STEP program is for the United States nation, and it's basically a alert system that tells you what's going on in different countries. You sign up for it, and you can put in what countries you're going to be in, and you'll get the alerts for that specific country. So we've been getting alerts on a daily basis about the earthquake, and they're updating us about the death toll or how many people are missing, and just updated information about what's going on after the earthquake. We've also had messages about being cautious as a U.S. citizen traveling worldwide due to the political climate and the war and everything that's happening. So if you are moving, make sure you sign up for the STEP program so that you know exactly what's happening. That is how the U.S. government is going to communicate with you.
Yes.
You also have to put in your contact information, your emergency contact information, because if anything happens to you, then they know who to contact to assist, or let them know what is going on with you. So that is number one. That's like very, very, very important.
And it's good because they tell you about not only the natural disaster emergencies, the political things, but also like if there is an outbreak, like a health outbreak, they will say, hey, stay away from these areas, don't travel to here. So they categorize safe areas and not so safe areas based on political unrest, outbreaks with health like malaria or Ebola, those kind of things, and as well as the natural disaster. So it's a way that they communicate, hey, Americans, I know you're here in this country. These are some areas you want to stay away from. Or some things you want to be cautious of.
So let's wrap this on up because again, we've lasted longer. We try to make these lives a little shorter. But they always seem to go longer than we want. We try to be conscious of how long you guys are listening because we know we watch YouTube videos as well, and we prefer shorter ones. But when we're talking about real life stuff and we have real stories to share, it just becomes a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and wrap this up.
And keep this in mind, these are things that could potentially save a life. These are things that are for the livelihood of your family. So we may go over a little bit, but take what you need from this. Some of you already have a go bag or a shelter in place tote. These are things that we're just saying that are important and essential. And if you have them good, and if you need to revise them good, your emergency plan is always a living plan. You can always on the go revise it. But the most important thing is make sure that everybody in your family knows what that plan is, because if we changed this year that the safe place for us to meet up is XYZ and not ABC, and everybody doesn't know, and you have people going to ABC and not XYZ, there's a level of communication. The communication within the family has been breached in terms of making sure that everybody stays safe and knows where to go. So just make sure that you are continuing to refer back to those plans every so often so everybody is on the same page. Do your drills. That's something that we have had to do. My girls were a little bit afraid after the earthquake, and I've had to, they were more confused than anything. My oldest said she was afraid, but she was confused because she didn't understand why the ground was shaking. And so now doing those drills, this is how we stay safe in an earthquake. This is how we stay safe in a tornado. This is how we stay safe in an earthquake. And so for me, a tornado would be more nerving for me because I haven't been in a tornado. I've been down south. My husband in his region where he's from, he knows how to prepare for a tornado. I got you on the earthquakes. I got you on the hurricanes. I got you there. But the tornado is where I would need to, prepare. And I'm not thinking it's that big of a difference as far as preparation, but there is a difference.
I mean, it's just a difference of how you bunker in and how you protect yourself. But you still would need your go bag if you needed to leave or whatnot. Which, of course, in a tornado, you're not leaving. You're staying inside in shelter and kind of protecting yourself inside. But you need to still know where to go inside.
Right.
Just like the earthquake, I immediately know go to a doorway or go under a sturdy, something sturdy, which I don't have anything sturdy in my apartment. So the only thing we had was the doorways.
Bathrooms,
stay away to bathrooms, right, and stay away from windows. Our bathrooms have skylights. So that's why I didn't go to the bathroom. Stay away from windows. Like it's the same thing with hurricanes and tornadoes. Stay away from the windows. Try to get to an interior place. The earthquake, stand in a doorway or a place where it's a foundational, is that what they call it? A foundational wall?
Like a beam, like the center of the house,
structural wall,
interior wall.
Because those are less likely to, collapse or fall. Stay away from balconies and things like that. So you just, if you don't know about it, you need to learn about it because things happen everywhere.
And again, this is preparation, not fearing, not for you to be fearful, but only for you to be prepared and understand that the preparation is what allows you to be confident when navigating stateside, back home, wherever you're from, or when you are abroad. So make sure that you have all of these things in place, your 1, 2s, and 3s, your meeting place, your emergency bag, whether it's the go or stay home one, and the conversation with your children. Those are your 1, 2, 3s of making sure that you have what you need to be prepared in the state of an emergency, not just a natural disaster, but also the state of an emergency. And so with that, Mamas Beyond the Matrix, we come here giving y'all real life scenarios,
Yes.
real life experiences, what it's like living abroad, specifically here in Medellin. So tap in with us. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and here on YouTube. Like and subscribe if this helped you in any form or fashion. Share this with another neighbor who needs to be thinking about their preparation for whatever season it is, hurricane season, tornado season, always earthquake season, because you never know when that'll happen. But we just need to be safe. And from our family to yours, we are praying and hoping that you all stay safe,
Yes.
you all stay informed, you all stay ready in case you need to be ready, because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Right.
And so with that, we are Mamas Beyond the Matrix, and we are tuning out, but make sure you get our free guide.
Yes. We have our 90-day relocation checklist.
Free
Yes,
checklist.
That's the free checklist. So if you're interested in relocating to Medellin, that checklist is designed for Medellin. However, it is still relevant for other places as well, because you're still going to probably have to follow the same types of steps for whatever location you go to. So you just look in the link in the description. You will be able to get that free 90-day checklist. And also, we're working on our relocation guide to Medellin. So that will be out soon. That will, if you're on the list or if you picked up the 90-day checklist, you're going to be on our email list, and then we can automatically send you an email that you know that the guide is ready if that is what you are looking for. So we would like to thank you guys for tuning in today and paying attention and learning all of this good information. And we will be back to you next Friday with another live. And this is Mamas Beyond the Matrix. And we will see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.